nice day, classmates, and also to our instructor, Dr. Adelisa M. Basia. Have a nice day to you, ma'am. This morning, we will be discussing about assessment tools. As a future teachers, in order for us to assess the relevant competence and skills of our students, here are 3 ways to assessment. First, we have here the observations. Second, the performance samples. And third, the actual performance. First, we will talk about observations-based assessment tool. Diane Hart in 1994 implied a guidelines to form a systematic and objective observation-based assessment. First, we have here observe not only one but all the students. As a teacher, you should not only observe one student, but it should be all so that all of your students would excel and none of them would be left behind. Then the second guideline, observe must be as frequent and as regular as possible. So do not observe your student only for a day, but it should be in a regular basis because in that way, you will really know as a teacher if your students are improving every day. Third, observe must be recorded in writing. So if you're going to conduct a report, you should write it in a clean bond paper because in that case, you can compare whether your student 1 or your student 2 are improving with the task that is being given to them. The fourth one, observations should cover both routine and exceptional occurrences. The teacher should also include routine and exceptional occurrences in observation. When we say routine, it is the behavior of the students in everyday courses, such as, for example, be a sweeper or a gatherer and many more examples. When we say exceptional occurrences, it is the students who can clean the room voluntarily, just like, for example, when the students will pick those trusses in the yards even if the teacher did not ask for that. Through that simple thing they did, the teacher can identify what behavior of the students had. And the last one, reliability of observation records is enhanced if multiple observations are gathered and synthesized. So a teacher do not just only observe and records, but all of those observation records should be kept together to aid the progress of the data gathered, including the improvement of the students. Let's proceed to kinds of observations-based assessment tool. First, we have developmental checklist. Developmental checklist is an observation tool which requires the teacher recorder to describe the traits or learner behaviors being assessed. So it is an observation tool, the teacher recorder to describe the traits or learning behaviors being assessed. In this checklist, the teacher can identify whether the students are improving pertaining to oral communication, which is in stage 1, speaks with hesitations, stage 2, speaks in complete sentences, stage 3, speaks extemporaneously, and stage 4, volunteers to participate in speaking activities. In this stage, the students had already achieved the desirable competence they must have. And same as with written communications, we have stage 1, which is writes with difficulty, stage 2, write with some improvement, and stage 3, write with correct grammar and syntax, and stage 4, submit essays and reports. And also, in this kind of developmental checklist, it must not be observed once, but it should be on a regular basis within a year to determine the growth of the student. Let's proceed to other kind of observations-based assessment tool, the interview sheet. The interview sheet is another observation tool which is also called conference recording room. It consists all the questions that the teacher wanted or intended to ask to get the responses of the students. So we have here an example of an interview sheet. The research proposal interview sheet. So there you can see the student's name, interviewer's name, course and subject, or the topic. And these are the following questions to be answered by the students, and that the teacher can gather the responses and answers. There, you can see the number 1 questions. Why did you select this topic? And the second one, what are the sources of your materials? The third one, what is the theoretical basis of your research topic? Fourth, why do you plan to gather data for your research? Fifth, what research instrument do you intend to use? The sixth, what is your timetable for the completion of your research? And the last one, how much do you expect to spend for this research? So these are the questions to be answered by the student in order that the teacher could gather the responses and answers. Let's proceed to second ways of authentic assessment tools, which is performance sample assessment tool. And the best example of this is the portfolio. A portfolio is a compilation. Proceed to the second way of authentic assessment tool, which is performance sample assessment tool. And the best example of this is the portfolio. A portfolio is a compilation of pieces of evidence of an individual's skills, ideas, interests, and accomplishments. And there are 3 purposes of a portfolio. A. The teacher can assess the growth and development of the students at various levels. So it means that it enables teachers to assess the improvement of the students at different levels. B. Parents are informed of the progress of their children in school. So a portfolio, it also informs the parents about the progress of their children. And C. Instructional supervisors are able to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the academic program. So by doing a portfolio, it also helps the faculty identify the curriculum gaps and quality. So what can be included in portfolio? We have here an examples of easy writings of students, video tapes, audio tapes, conference note, pictures, graphs or chart, or the artwork of students, group reports, compact disc, and lastly, field reports. The third ways of authentic assessment tools will be discussed by Dailin Blanca.
We continue. The third ways of authentic assessment tools is actual performance assessment tool. Student achievement at a specific place and time are actual performance that deserve to be assessed. One of the most frequently used measurements instruments is the checklist. A performance checklist consists of the list of behavior that make up a certain type of performance. It means the test taker actually demonstrate or perform the skill or the test is intended to measure by doing real-world tasks. The frequent measurement being used is the checklist, which is a list of different behavior or tasks being performed or not by the student, when the teacher will put a check as an evaluation. This is the example of performance checklist in solving a mathematical problems of behavior. Students can identify the given information. Next is identify what is being asked. The next is using variables to replace the unknown. Formulates the equation. The next is perform the algebraic operation. The second to the last is obtains an answer, and the last is verify if the answer is correct. In oral questioning, an appropriate assessment method for actual performance when the objectives are to assist the student's task knowledge. Next is to determine the student's ability to communicate ideas in coherent verbal sentences. It means In oral questioning, it is an actual performance in the classroom that the teacher asks about certain topic or any question that he or she like to ask in order to measure or assess the prior understanding or knowledge of the students and their communication skills. But oral questioning is only an option for assessment because there's something that you need to consider. The next in actual performance is observation and self-reports. Use a tally sheet as device when used by the teacher to record the frequency of students' behavior, activities, or remarks. In observation and self-report, it means that the teacher should record the student abilities being shown during the activities. True or with the use of tally sheet. Teacher must record the common occurrences of the student's behavior, activities, or remarks. This observation, self-report are useful assessment tool in collaboration with the oral questioning and performance test.
And this is the end of our discussion.
And thank you for watching and listening.